So here we have a map of the distribution of corvids. And of course, wherever you're watching this, unless you're watching it from, the East Falklands, you're probably going to have native corvids somewhere in your country. Certainly in North America, you've got crows and things like that. I know you do. Maybe in ravens. In fact, I know you do. Europe, I'm certain you do. Asia, Africa. So this should be something that's familiar. You're going to have birds in this family where you live if you're watching this, if you have internet. Even Papua New Guinea has it. So, you're going to have these in your local environment, and they're probably going to be doing quite well because they're quite industrious and they can live alongside human beings. And so they're pretty easy to find, but they're quite amazing creatures, I think, and they very much get underappreciated. So I'm going to have a look at just some of the UK species here. Here's a drawing I found online. It's just the common raven, the hooded crow, the carrion crow, the jackdaw, the magpie, the rook, the chough, who is one that people quite often forget, and the jay. And the only ones I haven't seen here in the UK, although they are here, is the chough and the jay. I think jays are a lot more common in North America.
Yeah, they've got the native blue jay as well. Mm-hmm. The Australians have a different species of magpie, which is particularly intelligent.
Yeah, they're very aggressive, aren't they? It's to my understanding, I had an Australian explain this to me, that the term drongo means like a
belligerent.
Yeah, it's like a slang term all on its own because of the bird. It's kind of a sort of placeholder, softer variant of calling someone an a-hole. That's how I understand it anyway, which...
On the parallel of that, I have seen a wonderful magpie video on the Dodo where a slightly lonely, probably autistic woman befriended a whole troop of magpies and they follow her home. And so she set up her back garden with toys and like socks and towels on the clothesline so they could hang upside down and play. So they do have a tricksterish nature about them. I mean, you do see that when they bully slightly smaller birds as well, because this particular bird family, the reason you get so many of them is because they are larger than lots of things like sparrows and jackdaws, so they can just pinch all of their berries and bully them out of gardens. I've seen it myself. So.
Yeah, and seagulls do that to them in return, don't they? And then you get lots of crows then bothering the seagulls and basically harassing them. It's similar to, not sure if you saw this video, but there's some young tiger cubs, and I think there's some gibbons or something like that. It must have been in India, so I'm not sure if you get gibbons in India, but they're basically monkeys, and they were coming down from the trees and yanking the tiger cubs' tails and then going back into the trees and kind of staying just low enough so the tiger cubs think that they have a chance of getting them. And they're deliberately teasing them. And I think crows do this as well to other birds, just to get rid of them.
They do have a mocking laugh-style call. And I'd much rather my garden be filled with crows and magpies and seagulls, because seagulls are kind of terrifying. Have you seen the videos where they're just devouring a rat whole?
Yeah, well, I've also seen them go into Tesco's and nick a packet of crisps. So they really are like the sort of...
the yobs of the bird world.
They are, yeah. They need to have little seagull tracksuits and... maybe a gold chain, rims.
Canistella under one wing.
Exactly, yeah. But they're nasty birds, whereas I think corvids are intelligent enough that if you're nice to them, they'll be nice to you in return. Not necessarily all the time. Maybe there's a learnt behaviour where they're going to be mean. But a particular crow of note, or corvid, should I say, is the new Caledonian crow, which is the most intelligent of all of them. And there it is. Notice anything interesting about it other than it looks like a crow?
It's got I don't know if this is this particular one, but it's got a sort of flared feather effect on the back of its neck. And it's also got some lighter feathers towards its tail end.
Anything about what's in its beak?
A twig?
But no, it's got a particular shape about it. That's known in the film business as foreshadowing. Yes, this is, of course, a tool in its mouth.
Right.
And we'll be getting onto that soon enough. And first, I think it's worthwhile watching a little video just to prove, before we get onto the new Caledonian crow, we can have a look at this little video more specifically. Oh, I forgot to mention, here's where New Caledonia is. I should have said that before. So here we are. There's New Caledonia near Vanuatu.
Oh, near Fiji and Papua New Guinea.
So it's sort of off of the coast of Australia. So it's quite a small island. I'm sure it's a very nice holiday. If there are any Australians, I imagine it's much easier for you to go out that way than it is for us. But yes, that is their homeland. That is where the world's smartest corvids live, on that tiny little island. Which I find interesting, because you normally think that islands are areas where there's these weird niches where it wouldn't be able to survive elsewhere, whereas you wouldn't expect something exceptional to be there. I suppose a Komodo dragon's on the island of Komodo, and if they were set loose on the mainland, it'd be pretty scary, wouldn't it? So
it's not going to be like that time where they just... Do you remember the Green Party's policy where they were trying to rewild Brighton and they just released sheep into Brighton? It's just mad.
The town centre?
Yes.
And they're meant to be the Green Party?
Well, yeah, because
we just have sheep knocking about.
Yeah, genuinely. They just thought more animals equals more good.
There's going to be, you know how every town in Britain that has a sizable enough local council has like a welcome to such and such place. The sheep are just going to be eating the flowers, welcome to Brighton.
I really wanted to do the old hypothetical school prank of going to Brighton, walking up to the sheep and just painting numbers on them, but I'd paint like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. And so they're endlessly looking for the 5th one.
You'd have to paint over all the bright flag colours on them, I imagine.
Yeah. Rainbow dip sheep.
Yeah, they're probably going to dip dye them, so they're going to have like a multiple coloured wool. But anyway, enough weird anecdotes. Let's get back to this video. This mouse is very difficult to use. Here we go. So this is from New Scientist, just to credit them. So they make mention of Aesop's fable. And basically what this is an experiment used in developmental psychology with children to show a certain understanding. And they've got a selection of bricks here where some of the bricks are heavy, some of them are light, and the heavier ones push up the water more. And it selects the heavier one because it understands that heavy things in water, it pushes the water up and it allows it to get the treat. And here they've got a choice between, I think it's dirt and water, just so it's proving that it's not a learnt behaviour just to put the stones in the tube to get food. It understands it has to go for the water. But it doesn't understand, as the video says, the effect of width. It'd be easier for it to put the things in the smaller one, but then eventually it figures it out. It realises that's going to be too much effort. I'll do this one first.
It is interesting how they seem capable of problem solving more than at a quicker rate than human infants.
But this would likely be an adult New Caledonian crow,
of course,
rather than a young child.
And of course, they have a much shorter lifespan than human beings, so their development is accelerated. But it's still just surprising.
It is impressive, isn't it? And I think this is an experiment which is a bit cheeky, where the tubes are connected underneath the table, so it can't actually see what's going on.
Right.
So it ends up not really understanding, but it still figures it out in the end. So here we have a research paper, which I found very interesting. It was looking at the manufacture and use of hook tools by New Caledonian crows, which I showed in that picture that we started with. And I'm just going to read a little bit about what they have to say about it. They say, New Caledonian crows manufacture the use of 2 different types of hook tool to aid prey capture: hooked twig and what was it? Stepped, cut, barbed, pandanus leaf. It's been a little while since I prepared this. I did read it beforehand. It's just that I've forgotten, all right. Crow tool manufacture had 3 features new to tool use in free-living non-humans: a high degree of standardization, distinctly discrete tool types with definite imposition of form in tool shaping, and the use of hooks. These features only first appeared in the stone and bone tool-using cultures of early humans after the lower Paleolithic, which indicates that crows have achieved a considerable technical ability in their tool manufacture and use. So it's also worth mentioning as well, because they're foraging birds, they change the area in which they're foraging, and they have the foresight to take their tools with them when they go foraging as well. So it would be like us choosing to take an axe or a club with us. And obviously, you know, you don't have crows out in the jungles of New Caledonia. I'm not sure if they're jungles or forests, but they're not, you know, metal forging and making axes or anything. But it serves the purpose that they're looking out to achieve. And so,
as it says in the paper, tool construction was, and as you've covered in your Origins of Humanity two-parter, tool construction was one of the formative things that allowed human beings to develop past the ape stage.
It's one of the benchmarks. We talk about our tool use as one of the markers of our own intelligence. It's sort of a badge of honor to us. So to find it in a bird, I mean, the phrase bird-brained is a pejorative term. It means someone's being stupid. And yet here we are, where they're using tools in a way that's equivalent to us in the Bone and Stone Age.
To watch the full video, please become a premium member at lotuseaters.com.